Welcome to the Business Credit and Financing Show. Each week, we talk about the growth strategies that matter most to entrepreneurs. Listen in as we discuss the secrets to getting credit and money to start and grow your business. And enjoy as we talk with seasoned business owners, coaches, and industry leaders on a variety of topics from advertising and marketing to the nuts and bolts of running a highly successful business. And now, to introduce the host of our show, financial expert and award-winning author, Ty Crandall.
Welcome to the show today. My name is Ty Crandall, and I will be going through this with you today where we're diving into 5 vendors who can help you build business credit, and we're going to talk about how to get approved with all of them without a personal guarantee, without a personal credit check. So I have a lot of stuff to cover today, but I don't even think I'll go a full hour as I typically do because I want to kind of go over some preliminary basics that you need to know before you start applying for vendor accounts. And then we're going to dive into some vendor accounts. We're going to talk about alternatives to vendor accounts and basically everything you need to establish that initial credit profile and score. So, the first thing that you need to know is having an EIN number does not mean that you have established credit already. We get a lot of people that call in and think that just because they set up their business EIN that they automatically have credit, and that's not how it works at all. So if you go to a bank and try to get cash credit cards, Visa cards, MasterCards, and you try to do this without a personal guarantee with your EIN only, you're always going to get denied, and that's a guaranteed thing. And a lot of people I see do this. They know business credit exists. They know you can get it without providing a social, so they walk right in their bank to try to get it. But their bank won't approve them because they don't have any prior established credit first. So you've got to have good personal credit if you were to do this and supply a personal guarantee. And that really comes down to the importance of what a personal guarantee is. A personal guarantee is required, quite simply, when your business doesn't have enough credit to stand on its own. That's what a guarantee is. So a lot of people come and ask me, hey, how can I get this loan? How can I get credit without a guarantee? My response is always the same. Establish your business credit. How well established is it? Well, I don't have any business credit. Well, then why do you think anybody would give you credit without a guarantee when your business doesn't have enough credit to stand on its own? So think of it like that your business has to stand on its own to be able to get away from your personal guarantees. Until it can do that, these lenders, these stores, most people you're going to apply for credit with are going to ask for that guarantee, and this is really where vendors will come into play. So lots of people fail at building business credit because they try to go to their bank first. They try to get Visa cards and MasterCards and all this credit before they take this so crucial vendor step. And this is frustrating to them, but don't give up. The bottom line, the most important thing you need to know is that you can get business credit even as a startup. But you have to do it in the right way, in the right order, in the right sequence. If you apply for credit out of the sequence and apply for Visa cards and MasterCards too early, for example, you're going to get denied. But that doesn't mean you'll get denied if you apply in the right sequence and you actually have established credit before you get to that point. So you can't start with the roof first of a house, right? You've got to start with the foundation. So you can't start with store credit, the Staples, the Office Depot, the Sears, the Sunoco, all those credit that be issued by retailers. And you can't go into your bank and get Visa cards and MasterCards to start either. If you do, you're going to get denied. It's a 100% chance that you will. So first, you've got to build trade lines that report. And this can be done really 3 different ways that we'll talk about today, one of which is vendor credit. And if you start with vendor credit first and put these accounts on your credit report first, you'll get approved for these. These will establish the credit profile that you need and the credit score you need to then build off of and get the rest of the credit that you'll want. So you've got to have that established credit profile first, then you get a business credit score, and with an established business credit profile and score, you start getting revolving credit, cash credit. So I should have had some reports pulled up to go through this with you today, but let me kind of give you as best visual as I can. If you look at a commercial credit report, it has 1 of 2 things in the beginning. It's either empty, or it has information about you because the credit bureau knows you exist. With Equifax and Experian, if the credit bureau knows you exist, they will automatically give you a low failing credit score of about a 28 or 29. So our goal is to mold and create a credit profile and score that will make you lendable, that will help you get credit. And that happens 2 different ways, and I'm going to go back to these bullets. First, you've got to have an established credit profile, and second, you have to have an established credit score. So the profile is what you're using vendors for. You're using vendors to be put on your credit report that start giving you what we call trade lines, or an accreditor that's issued you credit that reports to your credit report or your commercial credit reporting agencies. Then as you pay these bills as agreed, that's what gives you a score. And when you start to go into Dell and Apple and Amazon and Walmart and Visa cards and MasterCards, what you're hoping for is automated approvals. And to get automated approvals, you need both of these. You need a good score that indicates you pay your payments as agreed, your payments as agreed, and you need a credit profile that shows multiple trade lines reporting, which again, there's several ways to get. We'll be talking mostly about vendors today. With this, then you can move in and start getting store credit, Visa cards, MasterCards, fleet credit, etc. So when I talk about vendor credit, what is it? Well, these are basically trade lines from creditors who will give you initial credit when you have absolutely no credit established now. So vendors do what Visa and Bank of America won't, which is give you credit when you have none. So they will give you credit when you have absolutely none to help you build that credit profile versus trying to go to the other sources. Now, as I said in the beginning, you can go to Staples, you can go to Bank of America, you can get business credit cards there as long as you're willing to provide a personal guarantee and a personal credit check. So if you have good personal credit, you don't mind the guarantee in the beginning, well then you can go in and get the personally guaranteed credit, make sure it reports to the business reporting agencies, and go about it that way. Or you can come in and try it this way where you don't need good credit because your personal credit's not even looked at. You get credit with vendors first who will give you credit, and that will report that credit to the business credit reporting agencies. Now, these are vendors who can give you basic supplies such as shipping boxes and outdoor wear and ink and toner and office furniture. 97% of trade vendors don't report to the business credit reporting agencies, so that's the problem. When it comes to vendors, you're probably going to be buying stuff from people you normally wouldn't buy. You might not buy the normal stuff that you need to buy from vendors to be able to build the initial credit. You might be buying from vendors you wouldn't even think of usually doing business with. The benefit is to get that established credit profile and score. Now, these vendors typically offer terms like net 30 instead of revolving. So, for example, if you get approved for $1,000 in vendor credit and you use it all at once, well, then you'd have 30 days to pay back that $1,000 that you borrow. So that's how vendors work. Now, net 30 accounts, for example, must be paid back in 30 days. Net 60 accounts paid back in 60. And unlike with revolving accounts, you've got a set period of time, like net 30, 30 days, or net 60, 60 days to pay back this credit you borrowed. So to start your business credit profile the right way, you've got to get approved for vendor accounts that report to the business credit reporting agencies. So you're looking for two things. You're looking at what I just said on the previous slide, people that will give you credit when you have none already, one. And two, you're looking for ones that will give you credit that report to the business credit reporting agencies. Now, once that's done, then you can use that credit, pay back what you used, pay back what you borrowed, and the accounts reported to Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian, or one of them or multiple of them. Okay, so that's basically how this works, is you get approved for vendor credit, you use the credit, you pay the bill, and then the actual account will report to the reporting agencies. So some questions that I get along the way here is, do you need to use the account? Yes, you do. Because business credit scores are primarily based on how you pay your bills. If you pay them on time or early, you get a good score. If you pay them late, you don't get a good score. So the whole key here is that you can't just get approved for an account and let it sit. What you want to do is you want to use the account, and the using of the account is what will help you get the credit score. The earlier you pay the bill, the better the score will be. Okay, so that's really what you need to know about vendors, is that when it comes to this, you've got to get the account, get approved, which I'm going to give you ones here you can get approved for. You want to use the account, which means you got to buy stuff and pay the bill. I always recommend buying $50 or more worth of stuff. I just made that number up because some sources, like for example Quill, need you to spend $50 to report to D&B. So to be safe, I always say just buy $50 worth of stuff everywhere. But most vendors aren't like that. Most vendors, even if you spend $20 or $30, will still report the account to the reporting agencies. So you've got to get the account, you got to use it to buy stuff, and most importantly, you've got to pay that bill. So once reported, you then have trade lines, which is, again, the reporting of an account on your credit report. and that establishes a credit profile. The trade lines now establish a credit profile, and then as long as you pay, however you paid the bills will determine your score. And this is really the trifecta. This is what you need. Trade lines that get reported, now your report profile is established. Based on how you paid the bills, the score is established. It's positive if you paid as agreed. It's negative depending on how late you paid the bill. And now you're actually in a position where you can start building off that to get the credit that you really want to have. So using a newly established business credit profile and score, you then move in to start getting approved for store credit. So what happens in this stage is now you go to apply for a Staples credit card. For example, Staples Computer pulls your business credit report and does a check for two main things. One, do you have a score, and is it positive enough to get approved? Very simple to accomplish as long as you pay your bills as agreed. But because it's so easy to get a good score because all you need is one account paid as agreed, well, then the computers look for the second thing, which is how many trade lines do you have? And they all have their own criteria. Some want you to have 5. Some want you to have 6, 7. Some want you to have 10. So as you continue to add more trade lines, more tiers of credit become available, the more credit that becomes available. So another question I get a lot is, why am I getting denied? The answer is usually pretty simple. First, if you set up your business credibly in the beginning, which I'm not going to be covering today. So if you want to, you can go to youtube.com/credit suite. We have plenty of webinar playbacks and videos that will teach you that first crucial step of setting up a business credibly. As long as you set up your business credibly, then the main reason you would get denied is because you don't have enough trade lines reporting to apply for that account you're applying for. Okay, so for example, you need fewer trade lines to get approved for a Dell credit card than you do a Sam's Club credit card. So if you go into Sam's Club and get denied, the reason for your denial is you don't have enough trade lines to get approved for Sam's Club yet, which is why you need to go out and get more trade lines, then come back to Sam's Club and get approved. So it really comes down to what kind of credit you can get depends on how many of these established trade lines you have. Now, eventually, again, you get store credit without the personal guarantee, without the personal credit check. This starts to happen when you have 5 accounts reporting. Now, 5 accounts is not a hard, fast rule. As I just mentioned, a perfect example. You can get approved for Dell with 5. You need about 10 or 12 to get approved for actual Sam's Club. So Sam's Club, to get approved, they're going to typically want, especially the Sam's Club commercial card, they're going to want 10 accounts reporting. They're going to want you to have one of the accounts with a $10,000 limit. That might seem high to you, but it's not high. In the business credit world, you're getting that kind of limit in about 60 to 90 days. So again, you can start to get store credit without the personal guarantee, without the personal credit check with 5 accounts. A lot of stores need 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, but you can start to get approved with a lot of stores with even 5. And this is possible because now your EIN credit profile is established. It can stand on its own. And this is the purpose of what you and I want to do. We want the business to fund the business. We don't want to personally fund the business. So this happens once you start to establish credit. You use these vendors, you get that initial handful of credit accounts reporting. Once you get that initial credit, then you start to get store credit, then you move into fleet credit, then you move into cash credit, etc. And that's what really helps you down a road where you can start getting access to even auto vehicle financing without the personal guarantee and personal credit check. So the key to this is to leave your social off the application. The credit issuer is then forced to pull your business credit, your EIN credit profile. The computers see a solid credit profile, meaning multiple trades, accounts reporting, multiple of those trade lines reporting. They see a good score because you were good, you paid your bills as agreed, and then they can start approving you for real revolving credit. That is the process. And if you've broken the process, that's why you failed. So before you message this video or give us a call or email and say, why did I fail? It's because you broke the process. And this is why I like to say that we take years of business credit building and condense it to months, because what we do is just help expedite every stage of the process to be able to be successful. You don't need to pay us thousands of dollars to do it. You could do it on your own. You have to expect this aspect of trial and error, because if you don't know every account you're applying for, what their underwriting requirements are and how many trade lines they need for you to get approved, then it's all trial and error. All you're going to be doing is applying and denied and approved to figure out which ones will approve you. That's part of the process. So not all retailers will approve you just because your credit profile and score is established. Some sources, like Home Depot and Radio Shack, do have time and business requirements. They may need you to be in business 1 year or 3 years. Most do not require that, but some of them will require that you be in business 1 to 3 years. 98% plus don't have this requirement, but just know that some do. Some, like Home Depot, require that you meet certain revenue requirements as well for no personal guarantee credit. Here's where things get kind of convoluted. A lot of them will tell you this. So many of these applications you fill out say you need to have $1 million or $3 million in revenue. You need to be in business 3 years or more. I'll give you a perfect example. Home Depot and Staples are both underwritten by Citi. If you look at their commercial credit applications, they tell you clear as day that you must be in business 3 years and you must have, I think, $3 million in revenue. But if you went into them with 5 to 10 trade lines, they would approve you automatically regardless of time in business and revenue. So a lot of them will tell you this is a deterrent because, again, statistics show that the newer a business is, the greater the chance of failure, which is why they kind of keep business credit secret until companies are well established, and then they like to issue business credit, but not as much to the newer guys. So they'll tell you this is a deterrent. What they won't tell you is that their computers won't deny you just because of your time in business. If they see the trade lines and they see the scores, in almost all cases they will approve you. Some exceptions do include Home Depot, which is more stringent with underwriting time requirements when it comes to time in business and revenue, but most retailers don't fit into that category. So again, remember, you're not going to get a Visa card and MasterCard right away. You need to start with trade lines, these vendor credit accounts first, or a couple other options I'll talk to you about after we go through the vendor accounts. You need to have credit to get more credit. And here's kind of what people consider a catch-22, right? I need credit to get credit. Well, how's that possible? Today I'm going to show you how it's possible using a handful of real vendors. And after I go through the handful, I'm going to show you 2 other shortcuts, or one shortcut, one other, maybe not shortcut, longer method, but 3 ways, including in 2 alternative ways to vendors to be able to build this initial credit profile. You need about 10 trades to get the big payoff. What do I mean by big payoff? I mean Visa cards. I mean MasterCards. I mean auto vehicle financing. It takes about 10 to 12 trades to get there, but getting the initial credit is the hardest. And to be honest with you, it's the most boring part of this. This is the part where people moan and whine and cry because you're getting credit with vendors you normally wouldn't do business with. You're buying some stuff you normally wouldn't buy, but there's a huge payoff at the end because after that one step, you start getting the $2,000, the $5,000, the $10,000 plus limits at almost every major retailer that you want to get the credit with. So remember, over 97% of trade vendors who issue credit don't report to the business credit reporting agencies. That's why vendors have so much value and why there are so few of them, because there's not a lot that will give you credit when you have none and that will report it to the reporting agencies. They're very, very, very hard to find, and they come and go often. So you've got to find sources that actually do report. So vendor credit's a crucial step as you're building business credit because it's easier to get than the store fleet credit. You don't need the credit check. You don't need the guarantee to get it. And it leads to all the other credit that you're going to want to get. Establishing credit will lead lenders to approving you as well. What most people don't realize, and I had this really weird a conversation with a loan broker the other day on a Facebook post where I posted something about business credit, and he said, hey, you know, a lot of my people think they can get approved just based on business credit, and I have to tell them that business credit doesn't matter. And I said, well, actually, you're in the lending space. You know as well as I do that business credit's used on all of these underwriters to determine if they should get approved, how much they'll get approved for, rates and terms. And he came back, he goes, yeah, you're right, but business credit alone isn't required for loans. And I said, absolutely. When it comes to getting higher loan amounts, $50,000, $100,000, $1 million, they're going to look at your time in business. They're going to look at tax returns. They're going to look at bank statements. They're going to look at more things. But what business credit will do is, first, it will get you access to $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 individual revolving credit accounts at Visa cards, MasterCards, auto vehicle financing, fleet credit, credit at almost every major retailer, and it also makes you more lendable as well, because almost all lenders will look at your credit profile and score and quality of credit to determine if you should be approved, rates and terms you'll pay, and how much you'll pay for it. So this process is proven to work, okay? It's not, and a lot of people come to me and ask me about the credibility or legitimacy of business credit. What I say is, look, I didn't invent business credit. You know, Dun & Bradstreet's been around since 1841. 5 U.S. presidents have worked for Dun & Bradstreet back when they were referred to as the Mercantile Agency. There's no other company in this country that 5 U.S. presidents has worked for. So D&B and business credit has been around a long time, 40 years before consumer credit existed. All I'm here to do is take a complicated process that usually CFOs know how to do and high financial level people and companies that are bigger, and bring it down to a level where everybody can understand it and follow the same steps. If you follow the steps, just so you know, these are the exact same steps that every middle to big company goes through. They just, again, have financial savvy people that are taught these things and know how to do it. You might not have that CFO. So again, you're able to do the same thing, get the same results. You just need to follow the same proven steps that everybody follows to build commercial credit. So typically your terms on these credit accounts are going to be 15 to 60 days, net 15 to 60, which means you have that time to pay off what you borrow. You want vendors who report to the big reporting agencies. By that I mean that, for example, there's some that report to Credit Safe. Seton is one. Seton used to report to D&B. They used to be one of my favorite business credit reporting sources out there, vendors. Well, they stopped reporting to D&B and for the time being, and now I think they report to Credit Safe. Well, that's fantastic. More lenders and credit issuers are reporting to Credit Safe. But the problem with that is that the Credit Safe isn't widely used by lenders and credit issuers yet. So to start, you want to get the ones for sure that report to D&B, Equifax, and Experian. So just like for all credit, you've got to be responsible and pay on time. That becomes more important in the commercial world than the consumer world, because in the commercial world, your scores are entirely based on your payment history. So now that you're uncovering the secret formula for business credit, let's revisit what not to do. Don't apply for store credit first. You're going to get denied. Don't start with cash or bank credit first. You're going to get denied. Don't put your social security number on the application to start building business credit. You need to know the minute you do this, they do two things. They pull your personal credit and they attach a personal guarantee. We see these people come in all the time. And they come in and say, I have established business credit. We pull the reports. There's nothing reporting. And when we inquire, they did provide a social. They did provide a personal guarantee. And now those accounts are even reporting on the consumer credit reports. Well, if you don't want to have that happen, don't give them a social. If they don't have your social, they can't report it on the consumer credit reports. Okay, nor can they attach nor will they attach a personal guarantee. So you got to start with starter vendor accounts, the ones that will give you initial credit if you have none. Okay, no trading lines, no scores reporting. Other vendors like Staples won't do this. Okay, so for example, we do refer to Office Depot and Staples as vendors as well. I need to actually clarify that look, you're not going to see me list Staples and Office Depot here for a reason. Are they vendors? Yes, they are. And by this, I mean they offer net 30 terms the same as a lot of these vendors do. But the reason I'm not listing Staples and Office Depot in this is because they require other accounts beyond your credit report before they'll approve you. The ones I'm going to show you right now don't have that same requirement. So these 5 I'm going to walk through now don't require anything being on your report before they'll approve you, even though plenty of others like Staples and Office Depot do offer vendor credit, net 30 terms. They will not approve you unless you have accounts established, which is why I'm not here. I'm not showing them here, and also why you will rarely, if ever, hear me consider them or reference them as being vendors, because I don't want to confuse. I don't want to create any confusion. Are they vendors? Yeah, they are. They offer net 30 terms. But when I talk about vendors, I always try to talk about vendors that will report to the reporting agencies and give you approvals even when you have none already reporting. So Uline is one of the easiest and best ones to apply for. They sell shipping, packaging, industrial supplies. Okay, and I want to stop there, because when you look at a source like Uline, you might look at them and say, there's nothing I could even think to buy here. But there is. There's envelopes that you absolutely send mail in your life. So there's envelopes. There's all kinds of tape you can buy. There's a lot of things that you can buy there. You just need to dig in and find some things that make sense to buy. Okay, but like I said, for Uline, my go-to is envelopes and tape. I need both of those, and it's an easy place to get it. They report to Dun & Bradstreet. You must have a DUNS number before starting with them. You can get a free DUNS number online by Googling free DUNS number. Also, keep in mind that if you go to get your DUNS number, you will be called by Dun & Bradstreet, and they will come in and they will actually try to upsell you. with their credit builder program. So no, you don't need it. Know that your credit profile will be activated even without paying them, even no matter what they say. Know that you can get your DUNS number for free. Also know that now, upon checkout, they give you an option of paying $50 and expediting your DUNS. If you don't expedite your DUNS, it could take 30 days. If you do expedite your DUNS, you could get it in 1 to 2 weeks. In all fairness, I've had people come in and say that even without paying to expedite, they still get it in 1 to 2 weeks. I've had people that say without paying that they had to wait 30 to 60 days to get it. So just know that you do have that option upon checkout to expedite. They will ask for 2 trade references, Uline, not Dun & Bradstreet. They'll ask for 2 trade references and a bank reference as well. Trade references, anybody you do business with that extends you credit now. And a bank reference is obviously the bank that you deal with now. You usually need to spend $50 or more to get reported. This is the same with Quill. It's the same with Uline. That's why I always automatically default and say just spend $50. Guys, look, your commercial credit reports don't show your limits. What commercial credit reports show is they show the recent amount of credit that you've used. So you need to know this, because if your goal is to get high limit approval accounts, well then you shouldn't whine about spending $50, because the credit reports only show the recent amount that you've spent. So if you spend $30 to $100, your commercial credit reports are going to show highest amount recently used under $100. So again, the more you use the credit you get, the higher the limits you'll get in the future as well, because they see this on your commercial credit reports. In a lot of cases, you're not even going to pull a credit report that will show you a credit limit. You're going to pull ones that show how much you're actually using. The first few orders might need to be prepaid initially so your company can get approved for net 30 terms. So the way that Uline and Quill work is that with Uline, they will want you to sometimes prepay orders. And I don't see this a lot, but I do see it. So you go to Uline, you put a bunch of stuff in your shopping cart, you go to checkout, you apply for credit, you don't give them a credit card, they say order complete, then they contact you and say you don't have enough credit for us to issue you credit at this point. You say no problem, I still want you to go ahead and process my order. They process your order, you're good. Now you go back a week later and say, okay, here's another order, repeat the process, stuff in your shopping cart, check out, not give them a credit card, boom, I want to get approved, and 1 of 2 things is going to happen. You'll either not hear from them, they'll ship your items, which means you were extended credit, or the second thing that happens is they contact you again and say, you know, you don't have enough credit established yet, we can't issue you credit this time. And you say, no problem, go ahead and process my order. If you do this by the second or third time you apply, I've never to date seen anybody get denied on the third time. Most people don't need to place 2 or 3 orders first, some do. If you're a brand new startup business, if you didn't pass some credibility checks that you should have passed, if your name indicates you're high risk or any of these type of things, then they may make you place that second or third order. But again, if you do, most of the time you'll get approved on the first order. If you don't, give up and think the whole system fails. I'm telling you now, you might need to prepay for 2 or 3 orders to get approved with them. How to apply? You add an item to your shopping cart, you go to checkout, you select to open an account, you select to be invoiced, you finish the checkout process without ever giving them a credit card. That's how this works. Now, here's something else to know. There will be no celebration when you get approved. None at all. They will not celebrate. They will not tell you, congratulations, you got approved for a credit line of $1,000. They will not email you and tell you, congratulations, you got approved for a credit line of $1,000. They will not notify you at all. You will not get anything in the mail from them notifying you you were approved for a credit line. You will not get a credit card from them in the mail showing that you got a credit. You will have no indicator that you even got a credit line with them other than the fact that they shipped your item. The minute you get confirmation that your item was shipped, congratulations, you were just issued trade credit. But there will be no celebration, not by mail, not by email, not by phone, not on the checkout page to show that you got approved. Just know you did get approved. How do you know how much your limits are? You could log on to your online account and sometimes see. I don't think with Uline that's the case, or just call them and ask them, and they'll tell you by phone. But understand, they will not tell you you were issued a credit line like you're used to with a credit card. They will just ship your items without you giving them a credit card. That's how you'll know. And you can visit them at uline.com. Another one is Quill, which I mentioned. They sell office packaging and shipping cleaning supplies. This is my favorite. It's my favorite because you can use them. Anybody can use them. They have over 1 million products, and it's all kinds of stuff that you need to use. There's no business you could possibly start where you don't need pens or Post-it notes or envelopes or paper or something you could buy of the $1 million products they have. So it's easily stuff you could use. They also sell toner, office furniture, coffee, and snacks. I mean, they sell everything there. They report to D&B every quarter. Important to know. So again, if you're trying to build business credit quickly, you need to know that if Quill takes 90 days to report, they're definitely one to start with, but they're definitely not one that you want to rely a lot on for fast reporting, because depending on where you are in the reporting cycle, it could be months before it gets reported. And you must have a DB PAYDEX score in some cases to get approved. And I should have bolded this because that's not necessarily the case in a lot of cases. I see a lot of people start with Quill to begin with and get approved on the first to third orders even without the PAYDEX. And they will also check to see if you have an Experian report established. You must place that initial order and maybe even the second order if you have nothing established with D&B Experian. So they're going to check D&B, check Experian. They see nothing. They may go ahead, because you've got longevity, you've been open a year, 2 years, whatever. They may just go ahead and ship your items. They may notify you, we're not able to extend credit. Again, just like Uline, no worries. Have them place the order, then order again a second time, and then come back the third time and you'll get approved. To date, I've never seen anybody or had anybody report to me, and a lot of people report their success. I've never had anybody actually come in and not get approved by their second or third order, and most get approved with their first. In general, they will put on a 90-day prepayment schedule if they don't approve you initially. Okay, so if you order items each month for 3 months, they will typically approve you for net 30. It doesn't even have to be each month for 3 months. What it really needs to be is 3 different orders with them. Wait at least a week in between orders is my advice. Here's how you apply. Add an item to your shopping cart, go to checkout, select open an account, select to be invoiced. Eerily the exact same as Uline. So Uline and Quill are 2 of my favorites because there's just a ton of stuff. I think both these companies sell over 1 million products. You could easily find stuff that you're going to use in your day-to-day life with these guys. You can go right to quill.com to get approved. Granger Industrial Supply. So they sell hardware, power tools, pumps, and more. They also do fleet maintenance. To qualify, okay, so before I go any further, Granger's where things start to get a little off the rails. Because with Granger, when you go to their site, like I'm in an office, we have an office, right? We don't do outdoor work. So when I go to Granger, I'm like, what the heck is going on here? There's nothing I could buy. They sell work boots and outdoor equipment and all kinds of stuff that you may not think to buy. So here's my fail-safe when this comes up. I got 3 of them: flashlights, first aid kits, and batteries. Okay, I have a 6 and an 8-year-old, so first aid kits, I go through about 1 a week with my kids. Okay, whether it be me getting injured playing with them or them getting injured with me playing with them, it's usually one of the same. My son has a cast halfway up his arm because he just broke his finger weeks ago. So first aid kits, we all need. For the office, okay, if you have a home office, whatever it may be, you can use them. Same with batteries. There's no world that exists where you don't need batteries, and Granger sells all kinds of batteries. So stock up on $50 worth of batteries. Batteries are expensive. That won't buy you a lot. Okay, the other thing is flashlights. I think the first thing I ever bought at Granger was a $50 mag light flashlight. Still have never opened it, but you know, we have hurricanes down here, so I'm sure I'll get to use it one day. So the bottom line is, look, there might be stuff on the surface you don't think that you'd be able to buy here, but those are my fail-safes. If I go into batteries, I go into first aid kits, I go into flashlights. Those are sold at places like Granger you could easily get, and again, they're things you're going to use while you're building your business credit at the same time. You got to have a business license if it's required. You need an EIN number, and you need a DUNS number from Dun & Bradstreet. Now, in all fairness, when you apply, they will not actually ask you for your DUNS number when you apply. Neither will Uline or Quill, but they do check to make sure you have one. For less than $1,000 credit, they will approve nearly everyone. I mean, I've never seen anybody that's not approved, especially if you already have a business license, like an occupational license for your county. For over $1,000, they need to see trade and bank references. I supply trade and bank references on every application anyways. It really doesn't matter if they ask for it or not. It's still something I like to supply. Fax them your application or apply by phone. You can go right to Granger.com for approval. Monopolize your marketplace. They sell everything you need to know about marketing and business, 10 audio CD set. Now, they sell a lot of stuff at Monopolize Your Marketplace, but this CD set is one of the cheapest things that they sell. It's like 3 or 5 payments of $60. And from what I've heard, it's pretty good. This isn't one of the ones I use to start, but I do like them because it's marketing, which I think everybody can use. They also offer marketing solutions like advertising, and they report to Experian. This is a true starter vendor. By that, I mean that they don't require that other accounts be on your credit report for approval. Okay, upon checkout, choose the 4 equal payments of $59.99. First charge will take place in 30 days. You need a bank account, EIN, and deliverable address to get approved. Wait 30 to 60 days for them to report and show up on your credit reports. You can go to mymonline.com to get approved. That's mymonline.com to get approved for Monopolize Your Marketplace. The Wells Fargo Secure Credit Card. Now, they offer purchase protection. They have a 25 annual fee. They report to Experian. Okay, and you have a 21-day grace period with them to pay. You can usually get approved for $500 to $25,000. It's secured, right? So how much do you want to front? You want to front $500? You want to front $25,000? My recommendation is not to front 25. I would do no more than 500. I would personally do the bare minimum with this account to actually get approved. You must supply a personal social with this, and they're going to pull your personal credit, and they're not going to approve you unless you have above average credit, unlike the other ones we've talked about. And you've got to be a Wells Fargo online customer first, so you need to get signed up with them online, which you can do as part of the process. And it's only U.S. citizens or permanent resident aliens. Why is this important? It's important because anybody can build business credit. You do not have to be a citizen or a permanent resident alien to be able to get approved for business credit. Loans you do in this country. So a lot of foreign nationals can still build business credit as long as they get a business established here in the United States, which they can get with an ITIN in lieu of even an EIN. Apply online in store by phone, and you can go right to wellsfargo.com/biz, which is BIZ, /business-credit-cards/secured-card. For all of you that are watching, I'm going to leave this up so you can take a quick screenshot of this, because this is the back link that you're going to want to have to go in and actually get approved for them. Okay, so that's wellsfargo.com/biz/business-credit-cards/secured-card. Okay, so the sixth one, and I know I promised you 5, I have a tendency to kind of under-promise and over-deliver, is Strategic Network Solutions. So they offer technology training and tech support. Now, what I find with them you can use is they do like virus checks and malware checks and stuff like that. So that's more along the line of services that you're going to use unless you have like a network and need a bunch of tech support. And to qualify, you have to have an EIN and you have to set up your business entity, which of course you wouldn't have an EIN unless you set up a business entity. And you can get approved there at stntsol.com. So that's basically short for S is strategic, ST is for strategic, NT is short for network, and SOL is for short for solution. So STNTSOL is how you can actually get approved for them. Now, I've talked to you about 2 other alternatives besides the 5 vendors that I just told you about. And I know I just provided you 6. And those are probably one of the best 6 to start with. But there's 2 alternative ways that you could build your initial business credit as well, other than using vendor credit. And the first one is called UBF, or Unsecured Business Financing. It's not out there in the world under this name. This is our internal name for this actual program. So with unsecured business financing, you're basically coming in and really using consumer credit as collateral, okay, and not assets. This can be personal asset. No, actually, this is not what I'm looking for. I don't even know what this slide is. So let me go. Okay, so with this program, what happens is you're basically getting a no-doc or stated income credit cards with 0% rates. So instead of starting with vendor credit, you start with Visa cards. You start with MasterCards. Now, no financials are required, which means it's stated income, no doc. You can get approved up to $150,000 with this program. You need a score of now 680. The slide says 700. They've now reduced it to a 680 credit score. So remember, vendor credit you can get regardless of personal credit quality. All the vendors I just showed you. This one, if you do have a 680 FICO or higher, or B, a guarantor with the 680 or higher, this now provides you another alternative where you could get actual physical money up to $150,000 while building your business credit. Now, they with this program, here's how it works. You have a 680 FICO score or higher. You'll get at least 5 business credit accounts that report to the business credit reporting agencies. Visa cards, MasterCards, you could use anywhere. And they have cash out capability, which means you get the 0% benefit of credit cards. You get the cash out capability of credit lines, which means this is the only program that exists that gives you the ability to get credit lines where you could physically take the cash out at 0% rates. It's a phenomenal program. All they really need is a 680 FICO score or higher from you or a guarantor. The guarantor will get added to the business as, for example, a vice president, a treasurer. They will get added as like an officer to the company. The finance source will help you with this. So you're getting up to 150 grand, 0% cash out capability. None of them, they don't report to the consumer reporting agencies. They report to the commercial. I should say you have a choice. If you want consumer reporting as well, it'll get you more money, but the finance sources give you that as a choice. And this is a great shortcut if you have good credit or a guarantor that does. If you do, then again, feel free to get in touch with us. You can go to creditsuite.com and get our phone number, email right there. We can get you approved for these. The way it works is you'll get pre-approved same day. The finance source will tell you how much you're going to get approved for. When you say go ahead and let's do it, you'll get your money in about 1 to 3 weeks and build your business credit at the same time. So great shortcut. So back to vendor credit, more benefits. You've got to have 5 accounts to move to store credit. It takes about 30 to 90 days for those initial vendors we just talked about to report. Remember, the 90 days is because some of them, like Quill, report every quarter. 60 days on average because some report every quarter, some report monthly. Realistically, a lot of them will report in 30 days. Do not apply for store credit, like I said, unless you have those 5 accounts approved first. So you need vendor accounts to start a business credit profile and score. Total of 5 payment experiences. The payment experience is the reporting of an account to a reporting agency. Okay, so again, if you get approval with the vendor who reports to D&B and Experian, what a payment experience is it actually counts as 2 accounts. So not to confuse you, but this dives in deeper to some lender and credit issuer terminology. When you hear a reference of a payment experience, which you often will when it comes to commercial credit reporting, what this means is it means the reporting of an account to one reporting agency. So if you get one account that reports to D&B and Experian, it's a bonus because it counts as 2 payment experiences. People ask me, how many accounts do I need to actually move on to store credit? The real answer is 5 payment experiences, which means you could get your 5 even if you only have 2 or 3 accounts reporting. If you find accounts that report to multiple reporting agencies, I like to just say you need 5 accounts because it simplifies it. If you have 5, then you'll typically have more than what you actually need. Okay, so you need 5 payment experiences to move on. Again, then you can start getting Best Buy, Lowe's, Staples, Amazon, Dell. You need 10 accounts to move on to the Visa MasterCard that we talked about. And you're also going to need to have about a $10,000 credit limit before you start to get auto vehicle financing without a personal guarantee, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you add your SSN to your credit application, the vendor will pull your personal credit report. You need to know that. But supplying your SSN attaches that personal guarantee. You should know that as well. And the vendor will pull your personal credit report if you supply it. So don't put it on the credit report because it will result in an inquiry as well. And inquiries are a really big deal. When I talked about that unsecured business financing program, that program, you could lose 10 or 20,000 of possible approvals because of one inquiry. So inquiries are a really big deal. There's no law requiring a social be supplied on applications. Keep that in mind. But there is a law that says you can't put anything in place of your social security number on an application. So never use a CPN number. Never use anything in place of your social. But you don't need to supply that social. Like I said, you're violating 2 federal laws if you put, and I'm not an attorney, but if you do put anything in place of your social, that could be a real issue and violate 2 federal laws because you're misrepresenting your social. So just remember to leave that field blank, and then they forces them to pull your business credit for the approval decision instead of pulling your commercial credit. Now, we talked about the Wells Fargo account. So remember, for that, you've got to provide a deposit. Your credit's generally the same as your deposit. It almost always is. If you give them $500 for the secured card, your limit's $500. These cards tend to not have great rates or rewards. Most secure cards don't. But remember, you're using the account just like vendor credit to build your initial trade lines and profile and score, not for points and rewards. If you want points and rewards, go to our YouTube channel. Literally last week, we did a video on the best credit cards for 2017, and that mapped out the best cards for points and rewards. Okay, they will report positive and negative, but be careful because some accounts will only report if you go into collection that Wells Fargo won't. And again, these are really good if you don't have the best of credit to get approved. So using vendor credit to build business credit, again, start with vendor credit. A lot of things I think we've already referenced. But before we wrap up, I do want to touch on one other point because I talked talk to you about two other ways other than vendors to build initial credit. The other way is using Dun & Bradstreet's Business Credit Builder. Pretty good product, really. I mean, it's $1,500 a year. It's $159 a month. The good thing is that you can add accounts you already have, like your CRM software payment, to your Dun & Bradstreet report and add your 5 trade lines that way. The problem is you only build your Dun & Bradstreet credit profile and score, so you're going to get denied from any credit issuer that looks at Experian and Equifax. That's a pretty big deal because most lenders look at Equifax and most credit issuers look at Experian. So it is good because it's another way you could build business credit. I don't like it as much because a lot of credit you can't add. You can't add bank references. You can't add lease or rent payments. You can't add utilities. You can't add credit cards. And you can't add pretty much any other source they say you can't add. And that's their fine print on their Business Credit Builder page. And it only reports your D&B. Those are the negatives. The positive is, and then other negatives, there's a cost of $1,500 a year. So use vendor credit because you get around the cost of D&B's credit builder. If you have good credit, use the unsecured financing option. There's our contact number. We can get you approved for that same day. The D&B credit builder, it's up to you. You can consider using it or not. Just know most accounts you're going to add, they won't let you add. Like I just named a bunch of them that they won't. And even if you were adding them, you'd only build D&B, so you're still going to neglect your Experian and Equifax. You're still going to have to circle back around and put credit on your Experian and Equifax credit report. So it doesn't really shortcut the process. It does with D&B, but considering you still need to build Equifax and Experian, it's still problematic. So here's my best advice. If you have good credit or a guarantor that does, use the unsecured business financing option. You don't need to get credit with vendors. You don't need to go through the vendor step, and you get up to 150 grand of real usable money that you could take the cash out on at 0%, even as a startup. It's a fantastic program if you have the scores. If you don't have the scores, go with the actual building step by step using the vendor credit accounts first. No credit check, no personal guarantee. It's a way to get where you need to be even without having the good personal credit. So of the 3 options that you have, those are the best 2 depending on your credit standings now. I'm going to wrap this up. If you have any questions, let us know. 877-600-2487, info@creditsuite.com. We'll give everybody a free business credit consultation. We'll talk to you about your wants, needs. We'll answer your questions. We'll get you a free credit safe credit report. We'll talk to you about what we do, how we can help, where you are. We can help you get your loan applications in, help you get approved for loans with no money out of pocket, all those type of things. So whatever we can do to help, let us know. Info@creditsuite.com, 877-600-2487. Creditsuite.com, top right of the page. Make sure that you go there. All my social media links are there. I'm live on Periscope every week. I'm live on YouTube every other week. I'm live on Facebook every week, almost every week, unless I'm out of town. And we've got tons of stuff on our YouTube channel, hundreds of videos. I mean, tons of access that you can get for resources. And at the bottom of my slides, if you're not listening on the podcast, because we have a podcast too, creditsuite.com/EIN, you can get a free guide on building business credit. And if you go to creditsuite.com, top right of the page, you will find my podcast as well, where we're releasing right now 2 episodes per week, and I have some killer guests on there, super, super smart people on there that you'll actually get a chance to listen to and learn all different kinds of things, from real estate investing to buying mobile home parks, which is what we're covering tomorrow, to a bunch of other kind of things. So a lot of cool stuff. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate you coming. I know how valuable your time is. My goal is that you leave here with a lot of information that you didn't have before you came. So hopefully you got that, and I appreciate it. Anything we can do to help along the way, 877-600-2487. Thanks, everybody, very much. I hope you're having a great day, and I look forward to seeing you on our next webinar, which should be in about 2 weeks. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
You've been listening to the Business Credit and Financing Show with your host, Ty Crandall. Watch for our next episode to get even more insight on financing and growing your business. And don't forget to check us out online at creditsuite.com for even more business growth strategies.